I'll just show you something out here. I've kind of been neglecting pruning, and some of our tomato plants here, but I'm going to go through and I'm going to take off, clean up some of these plants. But once I clear this stuff away, then we'll see what we got. A whole lot of things are going through my mind this morning, and that is we got us a friend right there. That spider. Sometimes it's hard to tell who your friends are and who your enemies are. Now, just by looking at that spider, it looks pretty gruesome. Looks like it might be an enemy, but that spider stays there, doesn't come after me. And what do spiders eat? Spiders don't eat tomatoes. Spiders eat critters that want to eat tomatoes. So by the actions of that spider, the spider is showing me that the spider is my friend. That's called a writing spider, by the way, or a garden spider, and that's because of the zigzag that it makes in its web. But another thing that this is showing me, as I'm plucking off these dead leaves, some of these plants will just kind of let go of that dead leaf and say, okay, yeah, it's not doing me any good, and so it just lets go. But some of them resist letting it go. So even if that dead leaf is being harmful to the plant, it hangs on to it and it says, no, 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 that's my leaf, even though that leaf is a goner anyway. And to me, that kind of reflects human nature sometimes. If you have some sort of a toxic situation, it's like, I don't want to change it, I don't want to change it, but it's obviously causing you harm. Other plants will just say, yeah, sure, take it. Or it's pretty much come to the point to where that plant is no longer really attached to it, or it's so easy just to pluck it off. It's, you know, some habits that we might have we don't want to let go of, where other ones we finally recognize, this is harmful to me, I better let it go, I must let it go. And that's kind of one of the things that is showing me. Another thing that I'm thinking about as I'm doing this is something I may have mentioned before, is the 80-20 rule. It's like, I could stay out here all day and try and pluck these dead leaves off of here, and pretty much my life would be revolved around these tomato plants today. Or I could get them to about 80% good and call it a day, because tomorrow there'll be more anyhow. The 80-20 rule is also known as Paretos Principle. And we see these patterns in the world. Paretos Principle says there are recognizable patterns related to 80 and 20%. Like 80% of the work is done by 20% of the people. Or 80% of your time is spent polishing that last 20%. If you think of maybe doing an essay, I pretty much have the rough draft done in like 20% of the time. And then the other 80% of the time that I spend on it is tweaking and making it pretty, where you can just get it to an 80% and move on with your life. Now, some things you got to keep them at 100%. Other things you can get by with 80%. And it's just from experience, you kind of just make those determinations. Is this something that I can get by with 80%? Like, do I pick 80% of these tomatoes? Do I pluck off 80% of the dead leaves on these plants and just make them a little bit pretty and then go live my life? I guess so. Do I put that in my kitchen yet? Or do I let it sit another day? Let's take a look at how our spinach is going. Maybe about 80% of that one's grown up. This one's got some good weeds. This one here got a little activity going on. Some weeds here too. Maybe I'll pull some of the weeds out. We'll see. I like it that I don't have too many tomatoes that it's overwhelming, but enough to keep us supplied in the kitchen for a lot of different tomato dishes. And here are the green beans that I planted. You know, I never mulched that, but I came out here and I saw something interesting. a little sooner than I had expected. Some interesting looking beans, look at that. But this stuff over here is already producing, and I was surprised. I was expecting it to be about another week. Maybe all that rain and the warm weather that we had, it's like boom, here we are. So hey, we're gonna get that. Here I am at the VLA Garden, and I found something really cool. Over here we got grapevine. Sometimes things just do things on their own without any intervention at all. But look, we got us some grapes growing. Of course, they're not quite in season, but they're in process, which is cool. Some things you leave them go, and they do fine. Other things, they need intervention. Schooling is one of those things that need intervention. You can't graduate without doing something. Getting some of the large cherry tomatoes coming in here. Woo, man, mosquitoes aren't carrying me away.